It's been a bloody day on the cryptocurrency markets, and of course this is stemming from the stock markets and what the Fed is doing. The recycled news around the inflation raging and then also interest rates potentially rising. So without further ado, let's crack on with it. Smash the like, subscribe if you haven't already, help that YouTube algorithm out. 30% of you aren't subscribed. Let's get that to 0. Okay, so the Feds are looking to do lots of different things today. They've got a lot of news out on the digital currency report, which has come through. We also have the Omicron risk, and then there's also the monetary policy tightening as inflation rages. This isn't necessarily new, but of course it's affecting the stock markets like the NASDAQ, which is heavily influencing the crypto market, both being technology. This is now down 11% from its all-time high. We've been looking at this and just recapping the price fall. We were up at around 5.3 or so percent back here early the week, and now we're down at 11%. Now, if we zoom out, as we always do, we can see that we're a long way from the low back in March of 2020. This is the major low. One thing I want to point out from my experience, major tops aren't formed when the news is bad. S&P 500 is looking very similar. It's also had a breakdown past its 50% level, but we have major support levels. So this is the macro view. You want to be trading the macro market, the longer term timeframes. So this can pull back to 4,000, even to 3,500, and we're still looking very, very pretty for the next stage of the move. Remember, we have gone up since March 2020 to the peak in around January of 2022. This is for the stock market. So it's a very long time the market has been going up with only minor corrections. And if we look at the correction we've just had, it's very similar to what we had in late 2020, and the market continued on. Not saying we'll get that, but maybe we'll get further. But 2022, at least the first half, is shaping up to be turbulent as a potentially profit-taking period and also a reaccumulation period before we continue to move to higher grounds throughout this cycle. Remember our wall of worry. Markets are always climbing walls of worry. When there's a lot of bad news, we get the dips, we get those buy the dip opportunities, and the markets continue up. We go to a shorter term look here. We can see from 2009 to 2020, all of the times noted in, or some major news items of when the market dipped, and we obviously know now from history that the market continued up from that point. Now onto the cryptocurrencies, and fear and greed is at 19 today. I dare say it's going to be a lot lower tomorrow after today's crash. And on Bitcoin, we're trying to recover again. So the hopium side, we want to see Bitcoin close the weekly close above the previous low levels, and that was on the 10th of January at around 39,600. So if we can get a weekly close above that level, then this was just a fake out before we started to make higher ground. Now that's short term, and in order for the market to continue building strength, we want to see it get back above these higher levels here, and these were set at about $42,000 to $44,000. Now it's just the first or the second step. The first step is getting back into the $40,000 range. Then we have to start to stair step our way back to those previous higher levels to gain that ground. Now the downside to this is if we aren't able to recover to that $40,000 level and we get a lower high form before we head lower, all this is going to do is prolong the downtrend, prolong the bear market. Talked many times before, whether it's a bear or a bull, the money in your bank account doesn't know whether it's a bear or a bull. It doesn't matter. What matters is making profits, getting in early, and then selling on the way up or on the way down, provided you're still in some profit or you're protecting your position. That's what's going to matter at the end of the day. Our job is not to buy the absolute lows and then sell the absolute tops. Our job is just to take a healthy chunk out of the middle with your trading plan, with your if-then statements. If the market breaks market structure, market resistance, I will buy. If market breaks down, I will sell. And that's what we were looking at with the members. So you can see in Patreon and Premium, links are down below. It's all in the course, looking at weekly swings. And the market broke the weekly swing at around 57. Now, I'm not selling Bitcoin or Ethereum at those levels back at November and December, but I was selling a lot of altcoins, and those posts are all in the members group, which you can go back and have a look. Also talking a little bit about it on the channel, but usually at extreme times, the majority of people don't want to hear it. That leads me on to Solana and cryptos, which I have been selling, and why. Solana is one that we talked about on the channel, looking to buy it, bought it in around that $25 to $30 range when the market was down in May, June, July of 2021. Market peaked. You can see this is really abnormal. I don't want to be in the market when this is going on, or at least I'll take it to sell some of my position because the liquidity is extremely high. Not that I'm going to move a market, but the market is quite high, extreme at those points in time. So that makes me fearful after I've been buying in when everyone else is fearful. So I mentioned that I sold some Solana at about $160. Doesn't look so bad now looking back 4 or so months, but as the market rises again to 200 and 250, then it feels a little bit crazy. But this is the whole point of trading. You don't know that the market is going to go that much higher. But in terms of a percentage, it was not very much at all. A percentage of $25 to $160 is a lot better than buying in at around $130 and going to $260. There's only 100%. So the whole point is to make as much as you can through the middle with whatever knowledge that you have written down in your plan. Speaking of the plan, 50% levels on macro timeframes are areas that I do like to sell part or some of my position. And for Solana now down at 126, it broke the 130. Even if this bounces, I still think longer term, maybe over the next few months, we'll probably see some more downside because there's just not much support for Solana in this period. There's a little piece right here, but there's just not much support through this whole period. So I want to protect the profit that I've made on Solana, waiting for some more moves. There was plenty of signals to get out, but this is just what real trading happens. You might be far more strict and get out at some of your levels up higher. The point being is that these are some times that I want to be selling out, and I've mentioned that to our members today. As I mentioned, you can see the links in the top of the description for Patreon, and to learn how to trade, set up your own trading plans. Premium is down there as well. So this is a similar pattern that I've seen on a few cryptos today, and I've sold out of some positions, especially as they break down from their major 50% levels, regardless of any little pumps that might happen. Now, if the conditions change, if the market closes above the 50% and back into the zone that it was in early January, then that's one signal that the condition has changed. The next thing I want to see is the market then climb and break some previous highs. The next thing is a retest of those highs. And so that's going to give me a few signals for my plan to be able to re-enter those positions, regardless of if it's higher from where I currently am, because to the downside, I could lose a lot more to the downside than I could if the market was to show some short-term signs of strength and give me a re-entry opportunity at a higher price. Now, it's not a call to get wrecked. It's a call to do things safely. And if you've been interested, go and check out Michael's channel. He has specific plans on how he has been trading, leverage trading in the futures markets, not crypto, but in futures and now crypto for over the last 10 years. Check it out. Links are down below. Found some value. Smash likes, subscribes, bell notification icons. See you in the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more.